J-Dub is back at it here to give everyone another Game of Thrones Season 7 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am at rewatching or watching Game of Thrones or you're just not entirely sure, and you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention as well as put in the description for you. If that has to be the case and you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further, simply to avoid any potential spoilers. This will be Game of Thrones Season 7 episode number 5. The title of this episode is called Eastwatch. This will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode last night, as a matter of fact. So, after the battle that we just saw, Bronn pulls Jaime ashore, and they come to the realization that they have no chance to defeat, the Lannisters have no chance to defeat Daenerys' dragons, especially 3 of them. Now, Daenerys has Randall Tarly and his son, Dickon Tarly, burned to death by her dragons due to the fact that they both refused to bend the knee despite Tyrion's protests. And then the remaining soldiers actually do bend the knee to Daenerys out of fear. Bran, who can see the White Walker army approaching the wall, requests that ravens be sent throughout the 7 kingdoms to warn of the imposing threat. Arya witnesses Sansa declining 2 Northern Lords' suggestion that Sansa should rule the North, and then Arya privately accuses Sansa of wanting to displace Jon. Littlefinger does something really strange where he lets Arya see the letter that Cersei forced Sansa to write after King Robert died way back in Season 1, asking Robb Stark to essentially bend the knee to Joffrey at that point in time. So that was a while ago. Archmaester Ebrose discusses Bran's message with the other Archmaesters. Sam, he tries to get them to use their influence to prepare Westeros Westerosis to for the war against the White Walkers. And Archmaester Ebrose decides the matter needs further study. Sam transcribes a High Septon's journal as Gilly reads from it, and then Sam, who's just frustrated and had enough of it with the Archmaester's lack of action against the White Walkers, steals documents from the library and leaves Old Town with Gilly and little Sam. So Sam is leaving the Citadel. Jaime Lannister returns to Cersei and declares the war unwinnable for the Lannisters. He reveals that Olenna admitted to poisoning Joffrey before his death. Tyrion and Davos sneak into King's Landing. Bronn leads Jaime to Tyrion, who requests an audience with Cersei once Jon can prove that the White Walkers exist. Jaime conveys Tyrion's message, and Cersei doubts Tyrion's warning, and then Cersei acknowledges that a temporary ceasefire could be a strategic necessity for her. She also tells Jaime that she is pregnant and will publicly acknowledge him as the father. Davos locates Gendry, who we haven't seen in a long time. Was it the end of Season 3? Or was it Season 2? I don't even remember. And who eagerly leaves King's Landing with him. The 2 city guards discover Davos' boat, and Davos bribes them, but Tyrion returns and they recognize him. So Gendry kills both the Lannister troops. And then a big moment after Daenerys lands back at Dragonstone. Jon Snow touches Drogon and pets him a bit. And then the Dothraki come to say, Daenerys, we have somebody that says that they know you. And it's Ser Jorah Mormont. Returns and reunites with Daenerys. He's back from Dragonstone, or who's, like I said, is back at Dragonstone. And that was a touchy moment. He tells her that, she's like, you're looking healthy. He's like, yep. I take it you've cured yourself? Yep. And then they hug. Although Jorah looks like he wants to go in for a kiss. And that would just be awkward. But it was actually a great moment. There's been a lot of good people that have reunited. Although Jorah and Dany just saw each other, so it hasn't been that long. But it was still a good moment because Jorah is one of my favorite characters on Game of Thrones. And Tyrion and Davos return from King's Landing with Gendry. Varys and Tyrion privately discuss the brutality of Daenerys' actions, and Jon and Davos attend Daenerys' meeting with her advisors. Jon receives Bran's warning and decides to return to Winterfell to fight the White Walkers, and then Jon again requests her help. She refuses because leaving her war against Cersei would mean conceding the Iron Throne to her. So Tyrion proposes capturing a White north of the Wall and bringing it to King's Landing to show Cersei the danger and gain her support. So Jon and Jorah Mormont volunteer for the mission. Davos advises Gendry to conceal his identity, and right away Gendry introduces himself openly to Jon as Robert Baratheon's bastard and volunteers to join his excursion to Beyond the Wall. Jon, Davos, Gendry, and Jorah meet with Tormund at the fortress Eastwatch by the Sea, where the Brotherhood Without Banners and the Hound are in prison. The desperate men discuss their amenities, but acknowledge that they are now fighting against a common enemy. Gendry tells Jon not to trust them, remembering how they sold him to Melisandre, but Jon insists they're all on the same side because we're all breathing. And Davos says that he's going to remain at Eastwatch because he just isn't a good fighter and he's a liability on the battlefield. And then the episode ends with all these legit fighters like walking out of the just walking out within like a blizzard. You've got Jon, you've got you've got the Hound, Beric Dondarrion, Thoros Myr, Tormund, Jorah. It's just an awesome sight. And then a couple people from Winterfell are there as well. So, and that's how the episode ends. So pretty good stuff, although nothing too crazy with this one. So I'm going to give the score of the episode an 8.0 out of 10. I know some people would probably give it closer to a 9. I thought about it. I even thought about giving it a 7 because it's all build up for the end of the season. But those are my opinions on it. As far as the character of the episode, strangely enough, I'm going to give it to Davos because Davos is a good character. He just doesn't do a lot, but I think he did a few things in this episode that kind of, well, I mean, if I give it to the same person every episode, it would be boring. So change it up a bit. I think Davos certainly deserves it in this particular episode, although you could certainly give it to Jon Snow. Tyrion was good in this episode. Gendry actually was really good, and I thought about giving it to Gendry, but if I would give it to Gendry, I would have to give it to Davos, so I'm going to go with Davos. So you've heard what I had to say, and now it is your turn. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, make sure you smash that like button. I'll wait. There you go. That's what I want to see. If you like this video so much that you want to share it across all your social media platforms, please do so. That would help me out immensely. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about your thoughts on this episode. What would you give the episode for a score? And who would be your character of the episode? And if you have a favorite moment, certainly list that. And last but certainly not least, I am trying to grow the channel. So please don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.